As far as I'm concerned, there are two questions. The first question is, can 67 points get Champions League football? Because that's what we have. Well, it's not what we have at all. In fact, that's what we will have if we win our remaining 3 games. I very much felt if we won our remaining 4, which includes the Everton game, which we lost, we'd have got there. So, can 67 do it? Okay, well, here's the second question is, will Liverpool overhaul us? They've got a game in hand, okay? So we need them to lose a game. So, which actually, I was going to say it's 2 questions, it's not 2 questions. Basically, will 67 points win it, which leads to, will Liverpool lose a game, which is what we need them to do? And can Leicester only win 1 of their last 3? Because that's really what it needs to be, because winning 1 takes them to 66. If Leicester get 67, the goal difference is such that it's going to be nigh on impossible, and that would kill, wouldn't it? I mean, to miss out on Champions League football on goal difference would not be good at all. We'd start dissecting it and looking at individual games in the season where we could have done better, should have done better, and maybe should have done something else. But it's gutting, actually. It's really gutting. There's no doubt about it at all. I was going to use the word surrender. That's too harsh. I've got to be careful. Not be careful in my language, but, you know, we didn't surrender. We did try against Everton. But it wasn't enough. It wasn't... Did we lack urgency? No, we had some urgency. Did we have enough urgency? Possibly not. I do think what we did lack was the guile, was the creative spark. We didn't have enough players on the pitch who got 8 out of 10 or something like that. Something you're really going to need in that game. And that's a vital game. It's a massively important game. You expect and hope and want people to turn up for that game. But it didn't happen. There weren't enough. Myself and Gio had just finished recording, so it's still Sunday evening now. Myself and Gio have just recorded our player ratings video for Patreon, which we do after every game. If you want to join Patreon, links in the description below, from £3.60 a month, right? Anyway, so we've just done this. We do it after every game. There were a lot of 6s in our team, and there were a couple of 4s, and there was a 3. But we needed a little bit more. And what you particularly need in a game like that, where the defence is really good, really resolute. It was quite clear what Ancelotti did there, which was put some big fellas in the middle. And let's have it. Let's go toe-to-toe. The stats were constantly being flashed up on screen, which was these are 2 best teams from corners. And actually, they had 4 corners quite early on in the game. I thought we defended them very well. Great. Okay, unfortunately, Everton also defended our corners very well. Not only did they defend our corners very well, they also defended the crosses from open play really well as well. In fact, any ball that went into that box didn't seem to cause them too many problems. I was quite disappointed. Look, they got big guys, they got good guys, and we can't be the best team at crosses and headers all the time in every game. But what I do want you to do is then try and contest that second ball when the ball does drop down. But it just seemed every time there was an Everton player picking up the scraps when it bounced off someone's head or whatever. Any time it sort of ricocheted or bounced off a shoulder or whatever the case may be, we were never there. We were never in the right positions. So what you're relying on is when a team is that compact, that well drilled, and we did have an awful lot of possession. When a team is like that, you need a bit of magic. You need someone to curl it in the top corner. You need a really clever goal, a series of 1-2s, which, you know, we saw Lingard try with Bowen, but Bowen couldn't quite get the return ball back to him. But also, you know, someone to be able to dribble past 3 or 4 players. And the players that would normally do that for us, like Lingard, like Ben Rama, couldn't. They just, it was like waves crashing against the wall, really, wasn't it? Let's be fair. And we just didn't, they asked lots of questions. We didn't have any answers. So I think I said in the review, so we need something else then. And I think it was really wasted. If we're going to carry on crossing it, then put Souček up there. I know we weren't blessed with central midfielders. I know they were dropping like flies, but do something. Just do something anyway. We're losing anyway. At that point, it doesn't really matter if you lose 2-3-0. That being said, I've just spoken about the goal difference, but I think the goal difference is so far gone. I think you've got to almost forget it. Goal difference to Leicester's 10. Is there going to be a swing of 10 goals? I'm not so sure. You never know. There might be. Maybe that's how he played it. But I thought it was probably more, at this point, probably more prudent, probably more sensible to actually just try and get the draw and get the point, because the point is better than being level on points. And goal difference, it does change the complexion of it slightly. Well, look, we'll know a lot more once Liverpool play in Man United this week. Crikey, we need Man United to turn up for that. As we know, Leicester have got tough games as well. I think Leicester have got Man United. I mean, there's a lot of pressure on Man United because they've got all these games lining up, haven't they? And it's a shame now because it is in other teams' hands. It was a little bit before, but you did feel if we'd won all 4 games, we'd have got there. And that's what makes it disappointing. This was a game to turn up. This was a pivotal game. It was a crucial game. And we called it a cup final. That was a good enough term for it, but we didn't turn up like it was a cup final. I felt there were enough good performances. You can't really criticise overly Fabianski or Soufal or Diop or Cresswell. I thought Lanzini was good again. I thought he was good again. He was so many times in tight situations because Everton had a really good press. From the front, they were really pressing, in midfield were really pressing, and I mentioned this in the build-up show. When you've got somebody like Lanzini in your team, he plays around the press. It's fine. Lend him the ball, he'll give it. If he turns and there's no one to pass it to, he'll do another turn and still retain it. If both the players he's trying to pass to are marked, but there's one a little bit further along, he'll play it really hard and really fast. And his teammates have got confidence in him, and he has confidence in his teammates. And I thought he was playing well. I mean, it's so typical of us, of West Ham, of the way it's gone in this sort of final run-in, particularly in terms of injury, that we stumbled across an answer to a question, the question being what we're going to do in central midfield when Declan Rice is out, and also then Mark Noble's out. We stumbled on an answer to that question. It was Manuel Lanzini. And he looks good. I mean, he looks like he's been playing there a long time. Made some crunching tackles as well. I mean, he just looks really good. Maybe hasn't got the physical stature that you might like. He's not going to start heading balls away and whatnot. However, look good. So, for us to have a problem, find a solution, solution gets taken away from us, I mean, is terrible. I'm not blaming that on the fact we didn't beat Everton. And I'm not blaming the loss of Aaron Cresswell for the fact that we didn't beat Everton. I think we were struggling. I don't think it was just them. I think they were holding their positions down well enough. I think Cresswell was playing well at left back, and I think Lanzini was playing well in central midfield. Where we didn't impact it, as I say, I felt was Antonio, was Lingard, and of course Ben Rama. And then when Ben Rama's replaced, Bowen comes on, can't really impact the game. Tries to bring Yarmolenko on. Well, doesn't try and bring him on. He did. He didn't try and bring Yarmolenko on. He did bring Yarmolenko on. But ultimately, he couldn't do anything. They were so well marshalled. Really good performance from Everton. I'm pretty sure, Everton will be pleased with that. I'm also pretty sure Everton will be thinking, hold on a second, there's been games we've not done so well this season. Why wouldn't we play that well in them? I say that well, I don't attack us an awful lot. But they played the game. That's fine. We can't do that to teams. We've done that to teams this season. We can't do that to teams, happily take the win and complain when somebody does it to us. But it seemed like we had the lion's share of possession. It didn't seem like it. We did have the lion's share of possession. But ultimately in that game, we just didn't know what to do with it. Massive shame. A bit deflated. That's the word I was looking for. Deflated is better than, or it might not. No, I'm just gobbing everywhere now. That might explain it probably a little better. Look, it's hard to say onwards and upwards. Certainly onwards. We keep our fingers crossed now. There's going to be some games, some midweek games played before we get to play our next game against Brighton. It's a real shame because other results had gone for us. I guess we'll just have to see what happens.